Hello, how's everyone doing? It's me, Dre, live consultationer, trademark, and we're black, and we're back again. We have another unsung hero, if you will. I believe a lot of more people know about her than some of the other people that I spoke about. Her name is Claudetta, excuse me, Claudetta Colvin, Colvin, um, and she was an American pioneer of the 1950 civil rights movement, and she was also a nurse aide. Now, everybody knows who Rosa Parks is, but Claudetta was first. On March 2nd, 1955, she was arrested at the age of 15, so she was a little girl, 15-year-old little girl, in Montgomery, Alabama, for refusing to give up her seat to a white woman on a crowded, segregated bus. Now, it occurred 9 months before the similar, more widely known incident in which Rosa Parks, the secretary of the local chapter of the NAACP, helped spark the 1955 Montgomery bus boycott. Everybody knows about that. She refused to give up her seat for a white man. Here we are. Now, with Miss Colvin here, she was also one of the four plaintiffs in the first federal court case filed by civil rights attorney Fred Gray on February 1st, 1956. As was it Broder v. Gale, to challenge bus segregation in the city in the United States District Court. Colvin testified before a three-judge panel that heard the case on June 13th, 1956. The judges determined that the state and local laws requiring bus segregation in Alabama was unconstitutional. The case went to the United States Supreme Court on appeal by the state, which upheld the district court's ruling on November 13th, 1956. 1 month later, the Supreme Court affirmed the order to Montgomery and the state of Alabama to end bus segregation. So she was a huge, pivotal part of that, but that's also not taught. You hear about Rosa Parks all the time, but you do not hear about Miss Colvin. So for many years, Montgomery's black leaders did not publicize Colvin's pioneering effort. She said, "Young people think Rosa Parks just sat down on a bus and ended segregation, but it wasn't that case at all. That wasn't the case at all." Colvin's case was dropped by civil rights campaigners because she was unmarried and pregnant during the proceedings. It is now widely accepted that she was not accredited by the civil rights campaigners due to her circumstances, which is bullshit. Rosa Parks said if the white press got a hold of that information, they would have had a field day. They'd call her a bad girl, and her case wouldn't have a chance. So, we're going to talk about that statement above all else. Her being pregnant and unmarried at 15 does not change how shitty segregation was to people. That does not change that at all. That is something that doesn't get talked about in black communities enough, where black people are looking down on other black people. Okay, let's say it would have been hard on her because she'd been a little girl and she'd have been all over the news and they would have been talking shit about her. Yes. Okay, I get that point. So let's say they removed her from that. Okay, let Rosa Parks do it. Fine. But then they don't come back and give her any credit at all. None. Even though she testified in court, so she was a pivotal a pivotal person in helping getting this shit done. Being the first person to say no, and then even testifying. But y'all give her no credit at all? Oh, she was pregnant and unmarried, so we didn't want the white people to run with that. What's that have to do with our community? Y'all could have been as soon as Rosa Parks did that shit. And as soon as the court case had been done, they could have immediately said, hey, by the way, I wasn't the first, it was this young girl. We wanted to protect her from white media at the time. But this is what she did. But they don't do that. They don't do that at all. Not at all. Not a single point. We're going to read some more of this. The record of Miss Colvin's arrest and adjudication of delinquency was expunged. That's cool in 2021. She passed in, actually, this month of this year, January 13th, 2026. Rest in peace. So not even that long ago. And I didn't even hear nothing about it. Well, Rose Parks, that's what I'm saying. The district court charges against her have been brought more than 66 years early. It took 66 years for them to wipe that away. Let's see. Recognition. So, Ms. Colvin often says she was not angry that she did not get more recognition for everything going on. Rather, she was disappointed. She said she felt as if she was getting her Christmas in January rather than the 25th. This is a quote from her. I don't think there's room for many more icons. I think that history only has room enough for certain. How many icons can you choose? So, I think you compare history. Like most historians say, Christopher Columbus. So Columbus discovered America, and it was already populated. But they don't say that Columbus discovered America. They should say, for the European people, that is, their discovery of the New World. I get what she's saying about that. But I don't agree with it. In the sense that there is more than enough room for people who have done stuff for the betterment of other human beings to be, not even put on a pedestal, but be recognized. Hey, this person did this. Hey, this person did that. Hey, we're going to erect this statue. Hey, let's erect this one too for her. There's nothing wrong with that. 2016, the Smithsonian Institution and its National Museum of African American History and Culture were challenged by Colvin and her family, Miss Collins and her family, Miss Colvin and her family, who asked that Colvin be given a more prominent mention in the history of the civil rights movement, which is true. As a section dedicated to Rosa Parks, which Colin does not want taken away, of course. She said that she didn't want it taken away. Still, her family's goal is that the historical record, the goal is to get the historical record right. And for officials to include Colvin's part of history. Colvin was not invited officially for the formal dedication of the museum, which opened to the public in September 2016, which again is bullshit. Bullshit. So, and this is from her family, all we want is the truth. Why does history fail to get it right? Colvin's sister, Gloria Lester, said, had it not been for Claudette Colvin, Aurelia Boulder, Susie McDonald, and Mary Louise Smith, there may not have been a Thurgood Marshall, a Martin Luther King, or a Rosa Parks. Now, in 2000, Troy University at Montgomery opened a Rosa Parks Museum in Montgomery to honor the town's place in civil rights history. Roy White, who was in charge of most of the project, asked Colvin if she would like to appear in a video to tell her story, but Colvin refused. She said they've already called it the Rosa Parks Museum, so they've already made up their minds what the story is. Exactly. Exactly. So if it's a Rosa Parks Museum, then why would she want to be second fiddle to that? You want to make a video telling your story? No. I want my people, my community, to give me the credit I deserve. She shouldn't have to fight for this. They decided to move her out of the picture and then decided to not put her back in. This has nothing to do with white people. In 2010, the street Colvin lived on, where she was a young girl, was named Colvin Drive in her honor, which is awesome. It is located off the Upper Wetumpka Road in Montgomery, Alabama. Reverend Joseph Rempert has said, if nobody did anything for Colvin in the past, why don't we do something for her right now? He contacted, why does that sound weird? He contacted, yeah. Montgomery Councilman Tracy Larkin, whose sister was on the bus in 1955 with Colvin when she was, so her sister saw it happen. And Charles Jenwright in 2017, the council passed a resolution for a proclamation honoring Colvin. March 2nd was named Colvin Day in Montgomery, and that's awesome. That was in 2017. She died this year, so she had to have almost 10 years of having her own day, which is awesome. Let's see here. Mayor Todd Strange presented the proclamation, and when speaking of Colvin, he said she was an early foot soldier in the civil rights movement, and we did not want this opportunity to go by without declaring March 2nd as Claudette Colvin Day, to thank her for her leadership in the modern-day civil rights movement. Rempert said, I know people have heard her name before, but I just thought we should have a day to celebrate her. Colvin could not attend the proclamation due to her health concerns. That sucks. But that's awesome that they actually did that for her. 2019, the statue of Rosa Parks was unveiled in Montgomery, Alabama, and 4 granite markers were also unveiled near the statue on the same day to honor the 4 plaintiffs in Broder v. Gale, including Colvin. Also good. But I'm just saying, it wasn't black people, it wasn't white people that took that away from her. It was black people. Colvin applied to the family court in Montgomery, Alabama to have her juvenile record expunged. Yeah, and we talked about that, and it did get expunged. Okay, then she talks more about that. Also in 2021, a memorial honoring Colvin was unveiled along Claudette Colvin Drive. That's awesome. So she did get a memorial for her as well. Again, before she died in 2021 on her street. So again, Black history is American history, and both parts need to be talked about, the good and the bad. And unfortunately, what came from good from this was also bad in a way. Not bad, but taken away. This young girl stood up and was like, "No, I'm not going to do something." And then black people, her own community, was like, "Well, we don't want the white media to run away with this." And like I said, for some of that, I understand. It makes perfect sense. She's a young girl. She wouldn't be able to handle that kind of stuff when she's walking around town or riding the bus. White people looking at her all snooty, talking to her. She may even get attacked. So for that part, I get. For protecting her from that type of stuff. I understand that. But after the fact, to never bring her name up, to just let her go, pretend like she didn't do anything, like none of that happened. Okay, I get she was pregnant and unmarried, and that's another thing in the community. It wasn't white people, it was black people. and they are prejudiced against their own kind, which happens a lot in the black community. When black people see themselves above other black people, they treat them poorly, and that's what's going on here. Because it wasn't just that all the white people are going to run away with this; they didn't like how it would look to other black people. Oh, that girl is just no good. She's pregnant. She's not married. She's just running around here being a harlot, blah blah blah, whatever the word they used back then. That is why they did that. It wasn't just for the white media. That was part of it. I understand that. But it was also their own biasness and prejudices against the, I would say, the poor choices that she made. Which I'm assuming that she didn't have no poor choices, that she had kids from that. And I'm pretty sure she loved her kids. 100%. But that is just, like I said, shit like that also needs to be talked about, because that's also part of our history. Things that our so-called leaders did and used people as stepping stones. Okay, she did that. Now let's recreate that. And again, I'm not saying that what happened to Rosa Parks was manufactured. I'm just saying, come on. Y'all know this happened. And instead of making her, yo, what? Waited 9 months until it happened again. And Rosa Parks, like, well, you know what? This is happening to me right now. I'm gonna not stand up. We can't be putting our own bullshit on everybody else. Oh, it's white man's fault for this. White man's fault for that. It's white man's fault for that. No. We have to take responsibility for our actions. And what was done to her for all these years was wrong. She deserved to be recognized and honored like everybody else. But that was taken from her, not by white people, from black people. And again, I'm going to end it on that note. Again, more somber note than normal, but that's not what I want to end it on today. But again, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe. You know, it's been me, Dre, Life Consultationer, trademarked. Peace.